Earlier this year, while attending the Certified Collision Group Conference, and then again at Mike Anderson's Spartan Conference, I had the opportunity to connect and spend some time talking with this week's special guest. Someone I had great respect for, seen at many industry events, but never really got a chance to know until recently. His OEM certified shop's incredible performance and record-setting achievements with Lexus and Toyota would be the top of the mountain for most, but not for Jesse. This is just a starting point for his climb.
Mind Wrench whispers truth so clear. Tips that drive away the fear. Rick's voice cuts through the noise.
Welcome to the Mind Wrench Podcast with your host, Rick Sellover, where minor adjustments produce major improvements in mindset, personal growth, and success. This is the place to be every Monday, where we make small improvements and take positive actions in our business and personal lives that will make a major impact in our success, next level growth, and quality of life.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mind Wrench Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Sellover. Thanks so much for stopping in. If you're a returning listener and haven't done so already, please take a minute and click the follow or subscribe button and then rate and review the show. When you rate and review the show, the algorithms for Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and all the other platforms will see that it's valuable and show it to more people that have never seen it before. And hopefully it can help them too. I would really appreciate your help sharing this word with your friends and family as well. And if you're a brand new listener, welcome. I hope you find something of value here that helps you in your personal or professional life as well. Please make sure to click the subscribe or follow button so you never miss another episode. If you've been listening to the show for a while, or been on the receiving end of my daily quote of the day emails, or maybe just catch my posts on Facebook or LinkedIn, you know I'm all about the quotes, right? If you'd like to start receiving my quote of the day emails, there's a link in the show notes to sign up. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. Earlier this year, while attending the Certified Collision Group Conference, and then again at Mike Anderson's Spartan Conference, I had the opportunity to connect and spend some time talking with this week's special guest. Someone I had great respect for, seen at many industry events, but never really got a chance to know until recently. His OEM certified shop's incredible performance and record-setting achievements with Lexus and Toyota would be the top of the mountain for most, but not for Jesse. This is just a starting point for his climb. This week, my special guest shop has not only been chosen as the Lexus Certified Collision Center for 2024 for the second time, and the Toyota Certified Collision Center for 2024 third time, but his shop is the only certified Toyota and Lexus Collision Center in all of Northern California. Jesse Parks, a 25-year collision veteran, has built an extraordinary culture within his shop. He's maximized the power of proximity with strategic alliances with not only industry lighthouses like SCRS, Collision Advice, and Certified Collision Group, but the OEM manufacturers groups as well. Here's my in-depth interview with industry leader who has found strength and growth in getting uncomfortable, Jesse Parks, the Managing Director of Freeman Collision, as he joins me on the Mind Wrench Podcast.
My biggest focus right now has been disrupting FNOL. You know, as the smaller MSO or independents have been working to compete in a heavily dominated, large box PE environment, I think that we have to be a lot more innovative than we've had to be in the past. So where I've been focusing mainly is getting upstream of the insurance referral. I call it the insurance coin sorter. So vehicles that are connected, certifications, and vehicles that have either partial or some variations of their certifications that are restricted. So the OEMs right now are spending a lot of money and creating a lot of awareness with their customers to use their apps, to start using the locators. What we're seeing nationally is that a lot of the dealerships and OEMs are declining in auto sales right now because of interest rates, the economy, whatever it is right now, they're selling less cars. So what they've done is everyone that I've talked to, and I am on a lot of advisory boards and council groups for a lot of the the OEMs, and what I see them all focusing on right now is retention and part sales. So, I mean, when you look at some of the data that I've seen, just averaged out between all the OEMs, some are better, some are worse, but they're looking at a 60 plus % defection rate. So, 6 out of 10 people that get in an auto accident within 12 months are going to buy another brand. And it's generally because they've lost faith in the brand after that. And the OEMs are seeing that. So in a market where the sales are declining, it's never been more important for them to retain the customers that they have.
Right.
And as well, there's so many competitive parts choices right now that there's a lot of lost revenue. And with some of the OEMs, the bigger OEMs, we're seeing a better than 40% penetration in their total part sales. So if you're looking around 43, 44, 45% of every part that's sold has to do with collision. So they know they have room there. Yep. And because of those two facts, when you look at retention and when you look at part sales, the OEMs now are working a lot harder, and some of these certifications that have been, for lack of a better word, just a piece of paper to put on the wall that didn't have a lot of teeth, are now working to find ways to support the certifications in ways they haven't in the past. So
we're focused on OEM repairs, certs, and keeping their customers. And I'm glad you're saying this, Jesse, because this is something I've heard off and on over the past, let's say, 10 years, right? Like, if you do a crappy repair, it affects the customer's decision on buying that brand again, right? So everybody's kind of known that in the collision industry, but nobody's really focused that much on it. The top shops, yes. Most of the other shops, not really. But now it sounds like it's becoming even a bigger issue for the OEMs, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you take just an average brand, a mass-produced car. I mean, if you have a customer that's either they've owned these cars forever and they haven't had a problem, or it's their first time in, and now they get in something that to them doesn't seem like a huge collision. I mean, let's face it, most customers don't really know what a big job or a medium job is. Most of them think that a lot of this isn't a big deal. They don't understand the calibrations. They don't understand the repair procedures. They don't understand what's involved. So when you have somebody that in their mind didn't have that big of a boo-boo on their car, and now they're looking into, either their vehicle's a borderline total loss, or they fix their car and it's $15,000 when they thought it should have been fine. They got to bring it back to the shop multiple times because the shop didn't know how to do it right. And I mean that happens on for a lot of different reasons, but the retention component in the certification, which is why all of them are rapidly expanding their networks, is when these people are trained and they know what they're looking for, they know how to calibrate the cars, they have more guidance now in their processes and their quality control. There is more data reporting that's happening that's going back to the OEMs. That customer is going to have a better experience if the majority of the cars are fixed right the first time. Being in a dealer environment, I see a lot of the big box stuff that's around me, and I don't seek out post collision repairs and inspections because I try to play good in my sandbox in my neighborhood. Sure. A lot of these guys are my friends, but I see so many that the customer will go to the shop and complain about a problem, and the shop will argue with them and tell them why they know more and what they're saying, and then they finally get the shop to take it in. They don't fix it right again. By the third or fourth time the customer's done, they say, hey, I want to go over here. And when we get these cars, I haven't had one that I can remember in a very long time that didn't result in a buyback. So when we get into these cars, I mean, some of the repairs are so atrocious, and it's happening because these shops, as they grow or have the same staffing challenges, because in that environment it's pretty much 6 of one, half dozen of another. Most of them are forced to put people in seats that aren't really ready to be there yet.
Yes, yeah.
That don't have the experience. You have estimators that are too green to be looking at some of this stuff, that don't know how to look at the repair procedures. So when you have an OEM certification that's big on training, that takes the time to monitor that you're using their software to look them up, that actually has, data points like CCI. Claims Corp now is reporting back to all the OEMs the parts usage, and I think it's great. You look at some of the certifications like Tesla. I'm not Tesla certified, and some of the things, in my opinion, are a little bit questionable how they manage their certification. But they have big box repairs now that are deathly afraid of putting an aftermarket part on a car because they're going to lose their certification. And I think that's wonderful. I really agree with that component, and I want to see more OEMs do it. And I think they will, because they're realizing that they're losing parts sales, and now they have companies like CCI that can give them the data. So right. What that does is it creates a level playing field where we have 10 shops around me that are literally training the insurance company incorrectly how to fix a car. So then when a car comes in here, or a shop like mine, they think I'm either overcharging them or I'm not flexible. But what it is I'm just telling them the truth on why the vehicle should be repaired that way, and I'm not bashful about wanting to be reimbursed or compensated for the investment that I put in my people to do it properly.
Right, as you should be, right? This is something I've been in this business a long time, and I know there was a standard, a very loose, very low standard of repair acceptance, through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, how we fixed cars back then, and we got so many people, so many shops that were used to that being okay. They're struggling with the complexity of today's cars. They're struggling with the different materials used, different ways of treating those, seeing what the difference is between a crash part and an actual OEM part and how they perform. And I think it's fantastic that the OEMs are really helping drive the importance of this too, like you said, with their customers, with the data, through the apps. Because as an industry that I love and I've been in my whole life, I want to see you get to that level that you're playing at, Jesse. And then, I've been to Mike Anderson's events. I've been to CCG's events. You guys are shops playing at the top level where, I hate to say this, it's a top level, but it should be an even playing field. Everybody should be playing at that level because you're fixing someone's car that's going to get in there. They're going to put their kids, their grandmother, whatever in there. Now their lives are at risk over a questionable repair or not doing it the right way. So, kudos to the OEMs for pushing that. And like I said, I was interested in talking with you because I've seen you, several times over the years at different conferences, and I know you're a top player, and I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate the level of commitment you have to the industry and to building a better machine, consistently. You don't just do it once, you're consistently, like Kaizen, right? Continual improvement, which is fantastic. I just want to take a second here. I just want to make sure I had this right, because now you've been Lexus Shop of the Year a couple times, right?
Couple times, yeah. We got it in 22 and 24. Last year we got Toyota and Lexus. It was the first time it's ever been done before. So, we've gotten Toyota a few times too. Toyota and Lexus have been wonderful partners. They have an amazing training program. They're very reactive to what we're doing, and they're kind of, in my opinion, paving the way for a lot of the OEMs in being the example of how to run a certification and how to support your shop. So it's been amazing. Lance Bennett runs an amazing program, and he's knowledgeable. I think in some of these programs, it's getting better now, but for a long time, people that would come out and look at it, they didn't really know what they were looking at. And now there's more than a handful of people that are really knowledgeable. And Lance Bennett takes a lot of pride in his program, so it's been wonderful to work with both programs. I've had the honor of being on their collision council for both, and I see what they're working on behind the scenes. I see what they really care about, and they're thinking about everything. They're thinking about their future. They're thinking about our future. We're looking at ways to help the shop in ways I haven't seen from any certification. some new stuff coming out that, it'll come out when it comes out, but they're doing some really innovative stuff. And I think that's how we have to think too. So, I mean, and you mentioned parts, and so did I. And you said that's great that they're focusing on it, but they're financially motivated to do it now. Everybody, because if they don't, they're gonna continue to follow the trends with the other OEMs and lose part sales, but car sales, but then they're going to lose their part sales too. So this behooves everybody. And I've always, when I need something, it's a lot of times when I say, hey, this is my problem, will you help me? It doesn't always get me that far. But when I say this is your problem that I see, and can I help you? Now it's identified in another way, and I think they understand that this is their problem. And there's a lot of them now that are really focusing on it, and they're going to put a lot more teeth in the certifications, which I'm so tired of seeing certifications that are just a participation award, and you put a plaque on the wall, but nobody even knows how to look up a procedure. So I'm loving where that direction is going. And you mentioned Mike Anderson. I mean, he's been a wonderful mentor. And I'm very proud to be a Spartan. You're right, we do hold ourselves to a higher standard, but should that be the bar? Or is there a way to bring okay, maybe we may be up here and they may be down there, like, is there a way to help bring them up? And I'm the first one to educate my next door neighbor competitor, because the more they know, the less I have to be the only one training the industry or the insurance companies on what is appropriate when we look at a car. So
right. I've always liked the phrase, the tide raises all ships. I know it sounds corny as hell, but I'll tell you what, it's a fact. So if you're out there helping educate those around you, whether they have a collision shop or they're just part of the industry, the more that happens, the sharper everybody gets. Mm-hmm. And that means the bar gets raised, the tide gets raised on the quality of repairs that we're doing. And quite honestly, it should never slide back the other way. It should continue to improve, because they're not going to slow down on how they build these cars to a more specific point. The more technology it gets forced into these things for the OEMs reasons, they're trying to, whether it's safety or better mileage or lighter frames or whatever it is, they're driving towards their goals. We need to come along with them on the ride and be supportive, right, and help them guide them on some of those decisions.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The problem with that, though, is unfortunately the tide does go both ways. So, I'd say the worst behavior we tolerate becomes the standard. And right now, what I see, the data that I've seen is we're not at the top of the roller coaster. We're already down the other side. So when you look at severity, has been shooting up for years and years and years, and now we're seeing severity drop. We're seeing labor hours drop. We're seeing all this stuff now that is a negative trend, when we're still getting more complex repairs. There's more and more cars have ADAS. We should still be seeing that climb, but I believe that we're starting to witness the beginning of a race to the bottom. And when again, this is our business model, which is any partnership that's an FNOL disruptor, but the only other alternative is to partner with every insurance company. And when you do that now, the scorecard has never been so important or influential. Even a year ago, nobody was really even looking at it. But when you're running, a majority DRP dependent business model, if you're not at the top, you're not getting any cars. I've talked to a lot of CEOs of a lot of these big shops, and they've said the difference between first place and second or third place is I get everything to I only get a few during the month. And the scary part about that is everybody kind of had to adjust to figure out, okay, where's that? How do I get to 1,000 points on the scorecard? But then everybody else is trying to do the same thing too, and has bills to pay and has all their staff. So now they have to figure out, how they can come down a little bit on their severity or their cycle time or whatever it is, and then. Now this person gets all the work, okay, but then and this guy has none, so now he comes up, and you're only as good as your last pitch. So it's going to keep driving down the standard of our industry, and I'm really concerned about it. So I've ran in that environment for a lot of years. I was really successful and at the time, it was really educational. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I don't think I would want to be somebody starting a new business jumping into that now. One, the partnerships are fewer and far between. They're really hard to get now. They're taking people off, not adding people, except in very select markets. And two, you have to be so competitive that it's getting harder and harder to be profitable. So if we can get upstream of that, and we can get that first notice of loss coming from somebody else rather than the insurance who's going to refer their DRP program that just happened to pop up first on their list, we can get it in, take care of the customer, educate them, put the right parts on the car, and we can maintain a very healthy profit margin.
If you're looking for a competitive edge for your business or a more effective jumpstart to your personal development, I'll make your first step super simple. It is a fact that an incredible number of the most successful business owners, nearly half of the Fortune 500 companies, top-earning professional athletes, entertainers, and industry leaders like Microsoft's Bill Gates, former President Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, and Salesforce Mark Benioff all have one thing in common. They all have at least one coach, and some have several, that they work with on a consistent basis. Someone that helps guide, mentor, and support them, challenge them, help them set and achieve goals that move them forward, and then hold them accountable to follow through, driving personal and professional growth. Working with a coach has many substantial benefits. Just for an example, 80% of coaching clients report improved self-esteem or self-confidence thanks to coaching. 99% of individuals and companies that hire a coach report being very satisfied, and 96% would do it again. If deep down you know it's time to make those improvements in your business, your personal life that you've kicked down the road year after year, if you're tired of knowing there's a better version of you waiting to shine, but unsure of how to bring that version to light, if you're tired of wanting to enjoy a more successful business, but not sure how to start, and if you don't want to go another 12 months without better results, but you don't want to go it alone, then take the first step. It's super simple. Sometimes talking to the right person can make all the difference. Go to www.ricksalover.com/contact, and I'll set you up with a free consultation call with me to see if one-on-one coaching is right for you.
Well, so, to your point, the first notice of loss, that is getting driven through the OEMs, through their apps, to all their connected cars, and is picking up on that through the apps. Is that still getting directed, though, to an insurance company first?
Well, I mean, how does the insurance company get it? I mean, there may be some third party sometime down the road that could be, Apple or Google or whoever. But for right now, how does that even get there? Somebody gets in an accident, doesn't know what to do. They call their insurance and they say, oh, try ABC Body Shop. Because we have, we warranty the work for life, and it's a enhanced service and efficiency, and they can get you in right away. So that's when the customer calls. But yes, it is picking up with the OEMs. It's not there yet, but they are aware now, and they're spending a ton of dough. Some of these have sent out literally millions and millions of marketing emails just to talk and build and spend a lot of money developing their apps so that they can get ahead of that before the customer calls the insurance company. So that's how we get upstream of that. And they know, again, they're going to lose a lot of money if it doesn't get in the certified center. They're not going to sell the OEM parts. The KPIs are based on a lot of them are APU, alternative parts usage. So, I can't put 100% OEM parts on a car and expect to continue getting referrals. So, it's like, which master do you want to serve? Mentor of mine used to tell me, just because your butt's split in the middle doesn't mean it can be in two seats. And I think it's really true. So you got to pick one. So I think that it's going to have more teeth. It's not there yet, but there's a ton of awareness. And, I've put just about all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's going to know how this is going, I'm going to keep in touch with you on this, because you're going to see that direction probably a lot sooner than some others. But now you guys are specifically, and I remember, I want to back up here a little bit. So I had met the owner of Freeman, Diane. Yeah, I met her on a bus. It's funny, I sat next to her on a bus for CCG's event this spring. Had a great conversation. What a nice lady. Had a great conversation with her. But you guys are specifically just Toyota and Lexus, correct?
Freeman Motors owns Freeman Toyota, Freeman Lexus, and Freeman Collision Center. So I'm not a dealer guy. It took me a long time to wrap my head around the warp that I had to understand, like going from independent to dealership. Um, I I kind of live on my own island over here. I get along great with Diana. I got all the autonomy in the world. She's got her lane, and I respect that, and I got mine. But yes, we only have those two dealerships. But now we have 19 OEM certifications. I just got a handshake on another one literally an hour ago. So that another one that's going to be connected and restricted. So, and we got, three more that we're in process in. So, yes, only two rooftops of dealerships, but, we have Rivian. We just finished Lucid. So a lot of these are I would consider that heavily restricted, whereas only certain structural pieces are restricted, on some of the cars. So,
no, the only reason I asked, Jesse, was that I know Toyota and Lexus, especially Lexus, they've been kind of a leader in the technology of cars, and they've been heavily involved in collision repair aspect of it from an OEM for quite some time. And that's really where I was going with that question. But talking with Diana, she kind of explained how she had this beautiful body shop, right? You guys like 45,000 square foot collision center, right?
Yep.
In a beautiful part of California, but she couldn't get her hands around how's this thing supposed to run. She didn't have great quality management at that time. I think they were underutilized for such a big center. And you came in, I believe, as a consultant, right?
Yeah.
And ended up in the big seat there eventually, anyways, right?
Yeah. She was really aggressive, and this store opened in 2000. I'm the third person to run it, and it was an interesting story. I can't even remember who reached out to me. They said, "Hey, this lady's having an issue with her body shop. Will you talk to her?" And right away, I liked her, but I could understand that. It was a mess. It had really good people. This shop has always had the best reputation in town for quality. And I was born and raised in this town. Freeman's always been. Before I worked here, I bought 5, 6, 7 brand new cars myself. So I've always really liked Freeman. But there was some processes that there was a huge culture problem. Processes. I don't want to say too much about what had happened before. But I walked into something that was severely damaged, and it took me about a year and a half of really burning at both ends. But since then, I still have all the people on the back end. I still have the same two estimators. I brought in two more, switched up the office manager and CSR, it's been amazing, ever since. We did the girls in the front. They got #1 in the country for first initial contact. We can't even name them. We're always getting, awarded this stuff. And like you said, it's about Kaizen, continuous improvement. And I'm the first one to tell you, I got a ton more to improve. So I'm not trying to say that, everybody that would see this, I'm sure is doing some operation or something better than me. But I'm always trying to innovate, and also the dealer world, when I came in, it really surprised me. It was very regimented. In the independents, you're kind of looking at every spoke on the wheel. In the dealership world, I think they don't always understand that this can be a profit center. It's almost like some of these dealers open it up because it's neat to have a body shop. But
great place to funnel all your expenses into.
Yeah, and some of them will bring in, people from service or this or that. Don't get me wrong; there's a lot of good dealer shops out there,
absolutely,
that are better than me or really good. But there's still a lot of them that almost run it like a service department, and what we do is so different. And they don't understand that this is our #1 profit center for the back end. We have 250 people, so with great power comes great responsibility, and that's where also these others have to step up, and that's where the industry or the insurance companies have to understand that we've made a considerable investment to train these people. And, it's critical that we're making sure that these cars are safe when they leave. Without doing it right. And to do it right costs money. And until we're the ones that collect the insurance premium every month, we're not an insurance company. Somebody has to reimburse us to do that. And we try to work good. We're not doing RTAs, but we do have a lot of conversations that where we're told that you guys are the only ones doing that, and we use the Mike Anderson approach. Like, do you believe it's required? Do you believe it's included? Is there a time study for it? If not, what's it worth? So we try to avoid that whole debate. Like, here, look, we're just following the repair procedure. It says it has to be done. Okay. Yeah, both of our estimating systems say that it's not included. Okay, CCC says that it's 2.3 hours, or there's no time for it, and we had to do this, and this. What do you think's fair? Hour and a half, 2 hours? So those are conversations that we're having literally every day. But I mean, these estimators almost have to be like mini paralegals these days to get paid, because the insurance adjusters have more pressure on them. The insurance companies, the investors, everybody is one in their cut, and it's the what rolls downhill, and it's somebody's got to shrink their margin, and they don't want it to be them. But we don't get to raise our prices every year. Our paint bill has gone up 3 times this year substantially. Labor, I got to keep, all these people, they're like the bionic $6 million men now that I have working for me, because they have so much training. I lose one of those guys, I'm at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we have to pay them right to stay. It doesn't get cheaper, it gets more expensive.
Right. And that's going to continue to climb too. It just the way everything else is, but the technology on cars, like we talked about, it keeps changing. It's going to be more expensive. Parts are going to be more expensive, but technicians, which are at a premium right now because there's so few of them, and there's still not tons of guys getting into this industry or gals getting into this industry. So retention is at an all-time high. So part of the retention is culture. And I know you're so strong on culture, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but I know the other part of it is pay. I mean, these guys, I was a technician. I loved a couple places I worked, and I worked really hard, but I know I wanted to get paid too for that work. Charity's great, but most technicians aren't big fans of charity. They want to get paid for what they're doing. And, in this industry, for decades, as technicians, we never got paid for all the things we did. We did a lot of shit for free. We did what we had to do to get the car done and fixed correctly. And a lot of times the insurance company wasn't paying for, a third of the stuff that we did. It's a little bit, it's a lot bit better now, but to the point, technicians want to make money. They want to stay busy. But that culture piece, is that something that you've just been doing, like building blocks along the way, or is this something that was part of you before you even got into Freeman, when you were still doing, you did some work at some other big box places?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot, and it's always been a passion of mine. Positive morale is your best efficiency tool. If you got 90% of the people 90% happy 90% of the time, you're going to get a lot more done. I have done a lot of continuing education on it. We've gotten a lot of exposure through all the groups that I'm in. Discover Leadership, and a lot of similar programs. But it's kind of been, for me, like I ran a real big shop for a long time, and I was pretty strict, and it worked for that era. But I kind of rode that bus all the way to the end, and then I went into a really luxury environment, and I realized that there was some people that I really didn't like working with, that I didn't think had very good attitudes sometimes, or wouldn't take things that were important to me seriously. But I realized, like, when they die, like, they'll never come back in again. These are people that could literally, like, not have to look up procedures to take a Lamborghini Aventador completely apart and put it back together. So that really taught me that, hey, it's not about me. And then, do I want to be right, or do I want to get a result? And then, really coming in here and seeing how damaged it was, and see, I just identified what was missing. People didn't have a voice. When they did talk, they felt like it was, something that was almost frowned upon. They didn't get a chance to help build the clubhouse that we're all hanging out in. So Buy-in from my team is super important, and the flexibility. So I think that's where, and I've said this before on some other stuff, but I think the independents and even smaller MSOs that really have their finger on the pulse. So I think we have a much greater opportunity to pivot because I see so many of these big ones that are kind of this Midwest cookie cutter deal where it's a one size fits all, and it takes so long for a problem to resonate up to the top, and there's so many blockers along the way that actually prevent it from getting there, and they don't know until they look at a market and go, how come everybody's quitting over here? So I think that being flexibility on dumb stuff like, hey, can I take one Friday off a month because of my church wants to do something, or my kids got this game, or it's like, hey, I know nobody else does, but can I come in at 6 and leave at 2 because my wife got a new job, or whatever it is. Like I work really hard to say yes, and it's something that really costs no money. It takes brain damage sometimes to figure out how to do it, but at the end of the day, we're not less efficient. Most of the time we're more because they're engaged, and I'll tell them, hey, as long as we're getting it done and we don't see any effects of this, we can make it happen. And then they have some skin in the game and in the process and making sure that it's effective.
Yeah. And I love that, Jesse, because lack of ego or lack of having an ego at work, whatever position you're in, can allow that free flowing of being able to work together and creating the right kind of atmosphere and the right kind of culture in a shop. I've been in a lot of shops where the owner or the manager was, hey, this is about me, this is what I say, this is how we're doing it, and that's it. I don't want to hear any shit. Just and those type of cultures end up getting more and more toxic, and they drive away good quality help. And all it takes is, hey, dude, I'm here to work with you. What works best for you? And I know a lot of old school guys that are like, no, that shouldn't be how it is. But quite honestly, they've got the power to a certain point of being a good quality tech. You got to cater to them a little bit, but it's not so much cater. It's making them comfortable and happy where they're working, because you're going to spend, what, 60% of your time at work, right? So might as well be happy there. Might as well be comfortable. Might as well enjoy it. And then, when the big wins come, you're part of something exciting. And that only comes from a shop that's got good culture, to me, from what I see. So.
Yeah, I mean, you said, hey, it's my way or the highway, get it done, whatever. I ran that for a while, and it worked. It worked. Everybody was making a ton of money, but really what I learned is I was just the lesser of two evils at that time, and there was still more that they were getting that they wouldn't get on the other side of the fence, but it didn't make them feel good. Emotions are expensive at work, and that's why I always got to ask myself, do I want to be right or do I want to get a result? So, and I want to get a result. So, now, back in the day, somebody would have said something. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Are we really talking about this right now? Or they'd get mad and say something, and I'd fire back because of ego. And now I say things like, okay, well, I hear the words, and we can get into that, but I'm more concerned about the feeling because there's an emotion behind that. What's bothering you? Where before I'd say, where's your big boy PANTIES? You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of the things. I'm not a very patient person, but it's one of the things where I use the most energy units because a lot of these people are conflict averse. They don't like someone in their face. The technician skill set is not a socially outgoing skill set. So it's even more damaging to that type of skill set. So for me, I have to slow down and be really patient, and I have to, whether I want to or not. It's not like white knuckle fake it till you make it. Like I really have to find a way to care about what they care about.
The younger generations, they're a little bit different emotionally and how they process stuff and how they want to be treated. In my day, that it didn't matter, right? You just showed up, you did your work, and that was it, and you didn't get your feelings hurt too easy. But it's a lot different, so you have to be able to adapt to that as an employer. And there's not a bunch of boomers that are going to come back now and want to work in the shops. They're done. They're retiring, their knees are shot, their backs are shot, they're not coming back. So kudos to you for utilizing, the knowledge and the education that you've got and made those changes in culture. And I know you went through Discover Leadership and learned a little bit more about pushing
Yeah.
past comfort zones. And it takes getting out of the comfort zone to be successful in whatever business you're running, especially collision.
And that's part of it. That's part of it. But anybody that's going, well, I don't know if I could do that, or it's intimidating, or they think someone's like, oh, this is too rosy and perfect. Like, just so we're clear, like I screw up every
Yeah.
day. I mean, I go out of my way to own it. And when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. And that's yes, Discover's about getting out of your comfort zone, but it's also about understanding how to take your own score. And when we go to bed at night, it's something that I learned to do after getting my pilot's license, like running through the flight and then redoing it. But at the end of every day, I kind of run through all the important conversations I had or anything that happened. And if I'm really honest with myself, most days I don't get a 10. Some days I really, what to bed.
Yeah.
So, but understanding that if I take my score and I'm honest with myself, and if I got a 2 today, if I really blew it, I only got to carry that for that day. If it's my choice to wake up the next day and have a 0.
Yep.
Okay. I haven't done anything right. I haven't done anything wrong, but I got a chance to earn a 10. And same thing too. If I have a great day and I did everything right, I can't just walk in here tomorrow still living off that. I'm only as good as my last pitch.
Yep.
Right? I got to go tomorrow and earn another one. Or if I don't, then I got to look at it and go, man, I should handle that differently. And then next day, call them in the office or whatever the scenario is and go, hey, what? I thought about this has been bugging me. I should handle that way. And honestly, I got to do that all the time. So I'm not perfect. I don't think that anybody is. I probably screw up more than most people. But what I try to be really good about is seeing it when I do. And I don't always see it. So if I can't see it, then hearing it when they bring it to my attention that, hey, I don't, if somebody says, hey, I don't like the way they went yesterday, I got to be open to hear that.
Right.
And that's where you can't have an ego. That's where you got to go. Some people go, like, you can't talk to your boss like that. I don't look at it like that. Like I look at it like I don't want to be the boss. I think if you have to, when you go into an environment and sometimes you can't tell who the boss is, I think that's the best culture. And, I think that they have to be receptive when I'm asking for something, and that sword has to swing exactly the same amount the other way. So, and I don't look at it, I don't like to think of like myself as their boss. I like to look at myself as their career partner.
That's a better choice. I like that, career partner. And you're not there all the time either. You travel a lot. You got a lot of things that you have to attend, a lot of meetings.
I'm out of my box twice a month, and I'm really involved in the industry. And that's how I learn. From like I told you before, there's so many people that do things better than me, and that's I get out, and it doesn't matter whether it's a $100,000 a month box or a $2 million a month box. Everybody has a process that any of us can go in and look and go, wow, that's cool. Who thought of that? Even in the shops where you wouldn't fix your car there, where you walk in and you're like, oh, I don't know. You could look at something and be like, well, that's actually pretty neat. So we can learn from everybody. And like Mike Jones, we talked about Discover. Again, if we're listening with the intent to be influenced rather than the intent to defend, we will see something if we choose to be open-minded.
Sure. Yeah, you can learn from just about anybody. So, and I know part of that too is one of the things I was going to talk about briefly is proximity, right? So you're attending meetings and things like Mike Anderson's Collision Advice, his Spartan group, those meetings. You attend CCG, which is another powerful group, and being part of what Lexus has got going on, or Toyota's got going on with their training and development stuff. To me, that's proximity, right? So you're around other, higher level thinking people that are trying to obviously improve their part of the game. And that stuff just, man, it's so powerful to be around that. You can't help but learn and then try to be better at what you're doing. So I applaud those shops like yourself.
Yeah,
I'm part of that.
I had a mentor that used to say, mud hens fly with mud hens and mallards fly with mallards. So, like you said, it is really powerful. I mean, we get around, like, I don't want to be the most confident person in the room. Like, most of the time, I'm not. Like, you walk in, sometimes it's intimidating because you see their shop, or you watch their success along the way too. So, I mean, that's where we want to be. We want to be around people that are always challenging us and being a mallard, not a mud hen, and bringing us down. You know what I mean?
That's right. Love that. I want to switch gears here real quick. we're gonna get short on time really fast. It flies by, man. But I was at a conference not that long ago. Ryan Taylor was doing a presentation. Our buddy Ryan Taylor, love that
Yep.
guy. But he was getting into AI and body shop boost. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said our brother from another, for sure. Yeah, he's a dude.
Exactly. He was getting into the body shop booster and some of his AI stuff, and he used your shop as an example live.
Yeah.
So I know he told you about that, but I tell you what, man, I was so impressed with what is capable now. So I just for the people that haven't seen that and don't know what I'm talking about, how are you guys leveraging AI in your business?
Yeah, so Ryan's been a godsend. I mean, he picks on me a lot. Like we'll do some speaking events together, or when we're something. He knows I can handle it. He knows I can bob and weave, but he really has been instrumental in helping me figure out ways that I can reduce admin workload, and even more than that, meet a need of our today customer that isn't really reasonable. The expectation that our customer has today, it's very, very hard to meet that with human beings.
Yeah.
They want everything right now. Their attention span is something, I don't know, Ryan knows the math, but it's something like 8 seconds. Like if you're on one of those chat widgets and if you're literally not just waiting at your screen for somebody to start texting you, you'll miss it. And in 8 seconds, they're already like their attention span's gone, and they're moving on to the next. So getting AI that's really clever to help communicate with them, and after hour support. I mean, we're almost up to like 50% of our, a little less than 50. It's like 46 or 47 now, but almost half the accidents are happening outside of business hours, and there's also a reason for that. So 1 out of every 2 cars is happening when our shops close. So there's some people that are doing this different ways, but we got to find ways to get to the customer. So I've used my after hours AI phone support. That's what you heard. That's as you saw, it's super intuitive. I mean, it's mind blowing. It can set up tows. It can, it'll send somebody a link for the estimate now that where another AI is going to give them an estimate in 90 seconds. It'll help them book appointments. It'll do everything, and it gives them control over their experience, which has been something that that I've seen in some data is that people want more of a personalized experience. Mike Anderson is really good at getting a lot of this data, and that's where a lot of that has come from. That's the benefit of getting out and getting in these groups and seeing this stuff is understanding what's driving it rather than I think or I feel. So I always say liars figures don't lie. Data is a critical tool when you're looking at what AI to use or what process do you need or where are my holes within my market and measuring them. I mean, a big one that I talked about somewhere else was capture rate. So shops are now measuring their capture rate. Not all of them, but a lot more than in 2023 when nobody needed one more job and everybody was drinking through the fire hose.
Right.
But they're still doing it wrong. One, when they're measuring capture rate, they're not measuring everything. So if people walk in, a lot of times they don't record that, or if somebody would be a quote unquote waste of time or a tire kick or whatever, that's still something you need to monitor because they may or may not be a waste of time. It could be that somebody didn't have enough training to understand what information they needed to know. But also measuring what everybody's not doing right is measuring initial first contact. So when you have about half of the people that call your shop will never come in for an estimate. Mm-hmm. So, and that's data that I've seen that I trust. So when you look at all the marketing we're doing now, we're looking at maybe DRPs that you bring on, you got to give discounts, or we look at certifications, we got to buy tools and buy training. And then we finally get somebody that calls or texts it or however they try to communicate. And if 1 out of 2 is going to call our shop and not like the personalities, not feel confident, not understand our certification, not get back to them soon enough, then, I mean, you can put as much water as you want in a colander, but it's still all going to come out. And I think that's where shops really have an opportunity is getting that data, and we use AI for that as well. So we can go back and say, what is our real capture rate? So if you're at 80% and you think you're getting 8 out of 10 jobs, you may be at the counter, but you're probably getting more like 4 out of 10 of what you should be getting because you lost half of them to get there.
No, I would agree with that, Jesse. I don't think people capture really all their points of contact that are missed or blown or whatever, where AI is going to do a much better job at tracking that
Yeah.
stuff. So, have you had comments from any of your customers going, "Hey, I know that was AI, but man, it was so nice, it was so quick, it was so easy."
Yeah, I mean, we started kind of surveying the customers when they came in, asking them about that
Okay,
process.
good.
And a lot of more people have been here before, and they're like, "Wow, that's new. That was really cool." And yeah, there's times too where in the beginning there was a few things that needed to be trained, but that's going to happen with anything. So that's what I really like about Ryan is I can literally call him and go, "Hey, I wanted to say this now," or I wanted to train it to do this or this or this. So it's really flexible, and it's not a cookie cutter business model because each shop is different. We have different certifications, we have different hours, we have different ways we process stuff, and that software specifically is very customizable. And there may be others that are out there. I haven't spent a ton of time looking at other stuff. I have seen a lot of the big ones, and they are not as flexible with what I want to need.
Yeah, I think Ryan's part alien
Yeah.
anyway, so I
Yeah.
think that's got some
Well, he's
effect.
Canadian, so I think
Good
it's the same
stuff.
thing.
Hey Jesse, I appreciate the conversation. I could talk for another hour, and probably next time I see you, we'll talk for another hour. But as I wrap up, anything else that you wanted to cover that I haven't asked about yet? I know I had a lot of stuff I wanted
No,
to ask
and I
about.
think we're focusing on everything really critical right now, which is figure out where your work's coming from. If you're a DRP model, then really work hard on scorecard. I mean, that's your choice, your business model. If you're not DRP, you're not certified. There's some of those shops out there. Understand that you're gonna have OEMs pulling out your having a ladle in your bucket, and you're gonna have DRPs having a ladle in your bucket too. So for whatever we decide, we got to pick something. And in my mind, there's only two. And then be open to look at other processes. Be flexible with your staff, and don't be afraid of AI. You still have a chance to be somewhat of a early adopter and still be able to have a voice
Yes.
in what we're doing. Join the club. It's not a bad thing. It's nothing to be afraid of. It is out of my comfort zone too. I mean, it's not what I do. I much prefer the old way, but there's so many benefits, and the people that we hire want it, and the customers that are coming in now, like the boomers. So there's fewer of those and a lot more Gen X and Gen Zs. I mean, we are millennials and Gen Zs. So as they come in, they're more techie. They want to talk less. They're more socially reserved, and we got to adapt, or we don't. We don't have to, and we just will be one of those people that's like I look at it like the guy on Joe Dirt that only sells snakes, right? Okay. I know you like snakes and you want to sell them. That's great, but people don't like snakes anymore. So we got to start selling other stuff.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would
Yep.
agree. So for everybody tuned in, I've been talking with Jesse Parks, the managing director of Freeman Collision out in Santa Rosa, California. From my view, one of the shops on the top, but still growing, still climbing, which is what I love to see. So we're never done. We never really hit the top. We're always finding another plateau, another new part of the mountain to hit. So, Jesse, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I'll leave some show notes that's got some contact information for Jesse if you want to reach out to him. He's a wealth of information, and he's never afraid or never too shy to share it with anybody that asks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just great guy, and I'm glad I got a chance to talk with you and get you on the show today.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much.
100%. Yeah, we've been trying to put this together for a while now, and it's been great to talk to you, and I appreciate you thinking of me, and it's an honor to be here. Thanks, Rick.
You got it. You're welcome, and I look forward to seeing you again, probably at one of the next conferences. So,
Yeah, and SEMA for sure, if nothing else.
SEMA for sure, absolutely. You got it.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed my in-depth conversation with Jesse Parks at Freeman Collision. And maybe learned a little bit about what it takes to build a winning culture, how growth can come from getting uncomfortable, and leveraging AI to get a leg up in your business. You can always reach out to Jesse if you want to ask him a question. He's always willing to help others. I'll leave all of his contact information in the show notes. Well, that's all I had for you today. Thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you have a great week. I can always be reached at www.ricksillover.com, where you can find all my social media links, podcast episodes, blog posts, and much more.
Mind Wrench Whispers.